I am 67 years old, and I have one regret that sits heavier than all the others combined. Not a dramatic regret, not a scandal, not something I can point to and say, that was the moment everything went wrong. It is quieter than that, more ordinary, and that is exactly what makes it so painful. I spent the majority of my life chasing the wrong things with complete sincerity. I was not careless. I was not lazy. I was devoted and disciplined and focused every single day. I just had the wrong target, and by the time I understood that, the years were already behind me. I need you to hear this, not because I want your sympathy, because I genuinely cannot bear the thought of you arriving where I am and feeling what I felt when I finally understood. So I am going to tell you everything, the way it looked, the way it felt, and the moment it all became clear in a way I could not unfeel. Stay with me. I grew up believing that a good life was a built life. You built your career, you built your home, you built your reputation, you built your security. You stacked one achievement on top of another, and by the time you were old, you had something to point to, something solid, something that proved you had been here and you had mattered. That was the template. My mother believed it. Her mother believed it. Every woman I admired growing up believed some version of it and lived accordingly. So I did too. Completely. Without question. I was a good student who became a hard-working professional, who became a dedicated mother, who became a woman who was always available to everyone except, now that I look back with honest eyes, herself. I was good at being needed. I was excellent at it. I organized and managed and solved and showed up and followed through. My children were cared for. My home was ordered. My career was respectable. From the outside, my life looked exactly the way a life was supposed to look. And from the inside, there was a growing, quiet, nameless feeling that I kept scheduling around because there was always something more urgent to address than the feeling itself. I want to tell you about a woman named Patricia. She was my closest friend for 22 years. We met at a parent-teacher evening in 1989 when our daughters were in the same class, and we ended up standing in the same corner of the gymnasium, making the same dry observation about the refreshments, and laughing until the teacher asked us to keep it down. Patricia was the funniest person I have ever known. Not performed funny, not trying to impress you funny, genuinely funny in the way that means she saw the world slightly sideways and could not help sharing what she saw. She was also, underneath all that lightness, one of the most quietly unhappy people I have ever loved. Patricia had a marriage that looked fine from a distance and felt hollow up close. She had a career she had slid into because it was practical, and stayed in because leaving required an energy she kept spending on everything else. She had a dream she mentioned only occasionally, and always in the past tense. She had wanted to write, had started a novel twice, had a drawer somewhere with pages in it that nobody had ever read. She mentioned that drawer the way people mention things they have finished grieving, lightly, quickly, moving on before you could ask follow-up questions. Patricia died at 61. A stroke. Fast and without warning on a Thursday morning in her kitchen. Her daughter called me, and I sat down on the floor of my hallway, and I did not get up for a long time. And in the days and weeks that followed, in that particular excavating grief where you go through someone's life in your mind, looking for all the pieces of them you want to keep, I kept coming back to that drawer. The pages nobody had ever read. The novel that had no ending because it had never really been allowed to begin. I thought about all the Thursday mornings Patricia had stood in that kitchen not writing, doing everything else instead, being responsible and present and available, waiting for a time that was going to be right and quiet and guilt-free enough to finally sit down with herself and do the thing she actually wanted to do. That time never came. It never comes. I know that now. And I know it because Patricia's drawer was not so different from my own. If you are watching this and something in you just went quiet, if something I said landed somewhere tender, I want you to stay with that feeling. Do not skip past it. Do not schedule around it. That feeling is the most important piece of information you have right now. Write me a comment below and tell me what came up for you. I mean that genuinely, because I think more of us are living with a version of Patricia's drawer than anyone is saying out loud. And I want to know that I am not the only one. I do not think I am. Now here is what I spent most of my life believing what actually matters was. I believed it was achievement. I believed it was security. I believed it was being needed and being good at being needed, and having the proof of it visible in your home and your children and your career. I believed that feelings were secondary to function, that wanting things for yourself was indulgent when there were practical things to be done. I believed rest was earned and solitude was selfish, and that the woman who gave the most was the woman who mattered the most. I believed all of it sincerely. I organized my entire existence around it. And at 67, sitting with the evidence of what all that organizing actually produced, I can tell you with complete clarity what I missed. Connection. Real, unscheduled, unhurried, fully present connection. Not the efficient kind, not the kind you fit between two other obligations, not the kind where you are physically present and mentally drafting a grocery list, the kind where you look at another person and they feel completely seen, and so do you, the kind where time moves differently because neither of you is watching it. I had moments of that kind of connection across my life, but I did not protect it. I did not treat it as the priority it deserved to be. I let it get crowded out by everything that felt more urgent and more measurable and more like something a responsible adult should be attending to. And the relationships in my life, even the good ones, even the ones I treasure, carry the faint watermark of all the times I was half there. And the other thing, the thing I kept in my own drawer, the version of myself that wanted things that were just for me, that wanted to learn and make and explore, and occasionally be completely useless in the most joyful possible way. I silenced that version for decades because she felt like a luxury I had not earned yet. She was not a luxury. She was the whole point. She was the part of me that was actually alive in a way that did not depend on being useful to anyone else. And she waited and waited, and is only now, at 67, starting to get the space she deserved at 35. This channel exists because I decided I was done being quiet about things that matter. If that is something you need in your life, if you want more of this kind of honest conversation, I need you to subscribe to this channel right now and hit the bell icon so you do not miss what is coming next. I mean it, not because of numbers or metrics, but because the women who find this content tell me it is the first time they have heard someone say exactly what they have been feeling for years and could not name. And if that is you, you deserve to not miss a single one of these conversations. Subscribe now. It takes 3 seconds and it might give you something you have been looking for a long time. I want to ask you something directly. Think about this week, just this ordinary week you are living right now. How many hours of it was spent doing things that genuinely fed you, not performed for someone else, not checked off a list, not done out of obligation or guilt or the fear of what would happen if you did not do them? How many hours belonged completely to you? If the answer is very few or none, I do not want you to feel guilty about that. I want you to feel curious. I want you to ask yourself what would have to change for that number to be different. Because here is what I know at 67 that I did not know at 40. Nobody is going to create that space for you. The world will take everything you offer and ask for more and call it gratitude. You have to choose yourself, not instead of the people you love, alongside them, at the same time, with the same seriousness you give to everything and everyone else. I made a list once in my late 50s of the things I had told myself I would do someday. Learn to paint, travel somewhere purely for my own curiosity, with no agenda attached to it. Read the books I actually wanted to read, instead of the ones I thought I should. Have the long, unhurried conversations I kept postponing because there was always something more pressing. Sit with myself quietly and actually like what I found there. It was not an ambitious list. It was not asking for much. But someday kept being someday, and someday almost became never. Do not let someday become never. I am begging you. From 67 years of knowing exactly what that costs. There is one more thing I want to say about what actually matters, and it is perhaps the most important thing, the thing I circled back to most often as I turned all of this over in my mind. It is this. The quality of your presence matters infinitely more than the quantity of your doing. I was a woman who did a great deal. I am only beginning to learn to be a woman who is truly present. And the difference between those two things, the doing and the being, is the entire distance between the life I lived for most of my years and the life I am finally living now. My daughter sat with me last spring on my back porch on a Sunday afternoon. We were not doing anything. There was nowhere to be and nothing to produce and no task to finish. We just sat there in the quiet together with our tea getting cold and the light changing across the garden, and at some point she looked at me and said, "I love sitting with you like this." And I had to look away for a moment, because I was thinking about all the Sunday afternoons I had spent busy, all the time she had been in the next room while I was elsewhere in my head, all the cold teas and changing light I had missed because I was always getting something done. She did not say that to hurt me. She did not even know she was hurting me. She was just telling me something true. And the truth landed like a gift and a grief at the same time. If you have a person in your life who you have been meaning to sit with, a conversation you have been meaning to have, a moment you keep postponing to a quieter day, I want you to go do that this week. Not this month, this week. And when you do, I want you to come back here and leave me a comment and tell me how it went. Tell me what you found when you finally stopped long enough to look. Because I believe that the best wisdom on this topic is not going to come from me. It is going to come from all of us together, from the women in this community who are living these exact questions and finding their own answers. Leave your answer below. I read every single one. I am 67 years old. I have a drawer of my own that I am finally opening. There are pages in it that nobody has read yet. I am reading them now, slowly, with the patience I should have offered myself 30 years ago. It is not too late for me, and I promise you it is not too late for you. But it is also not as early as we think. The time is now, not someday, now. Patricia would have been 68 this year. I think about her drawer. I think about the novel that never got to be finished. And I think, finish your novel, whatever your novel is, the conversation, the trip, the course, the morning you spend doing something that makes you feel alive in a way that has nothing to do with being useful. Finish it. Start it. Do it this week before this week is over and becomes another week you meant to but did not. And if this video reached something in you, if you felt seen by any part of what I said, I want you to do one thing before you go. Subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon so you never miss these conversations. Watch the other videos here, because what I have shared with you today is just the beginning of what this community is building together. And the women who are part of it are finding things here they did not know they needed until they found them. Do not miss what is coming next. You have already waited long enough for conversations that are honest about what this life is actually like. I have said what I came to say. The rest is yours. Do not wait 67 years to understand what matters. It is right in front of you. It always has been. Look at it now.